to another QuickWitz Tips. Today we're going to talk about headline news. So I'm going to cue that up for you, let you listen to headline news. Remember that headline news is the same procedure as The Way It Was. In our very first edition, it was called The Way It Was. Thereafter, it was called headline news because that's what we felt like it was. Ripped from the headlines, information from a certain year in the past. Before we listen to it, I want to tell you why I included it in the QuickWitz kit, because I think it's important that you know why certain procedures are there. Not just because I like the game or enjoyed doing the research, though both of those are true. But in the case of headline news, here's something that the seniors can reach back in their past and pull up. You know, it's long-term memory. It does practice long-term memory because it actually dusts off the neurons. In many cases, the seniors didn't know this information. It's not something they remember from their past, but they might remember it from having talked to their parents about it. Some of them will learn these facts for the very first time when they hear them on the day that you cue it up and bring it in front of them. So we're going to address both of those issues. But right now, let me cue it up. Let's listen to headline news, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you might make it more enjoyable for your residents.
We will begin every session with headline news to boost your memory. Listen carefully to these headlines from the past. Store the information in your long-term memory so that you can answer the related questions at the end of the session. You will not need any materials for this activity. Use your ears only. Listen carefully. The year was 1921. The last of San Francisco's fire horses were retired. President Harding signed the Willis-Campbell Act, forbidding doctors from prescribing beer or liquor for medicinal purposes. The tomb of the unknown soldiers was dedicated at Arlington National Cemetery. Babe Ruth hit his first World Series home run as the Yankees beat the Giants. Mary Gorman, age 16 from Washington, D.C., was crowned the first Miss America in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And those were the headlines in 1921.
So let's talk just a minute about these particular headlines. This is 1921. None of your residents are going to remember the headlines of 1921. They may remember them if they've talked to them with their parents. So we're going to assume that all of this information has to be learned if in fact it is to be remembered. The best way to do it is simply pause like I did after the last statement is read and talk about it and ask questions, because at the end of the session they're going to have to answer 5 detailed questions. And there's nothing worse than leaving the QuickWitz session after the last procedure having done poorly. So you want to make sure that all of these things are learned. They're in their head. They got to keep them there for an hour. And at the very end, you're going to ask the questions. So let's take a look at what they were. Something about fire horses. Let them talk about it. What were the fire horses? What city were they in San Francisco? So they're going to be able to relive some memories. Maybe they had a chance to see the fire horses, or maybe somebody's dad was a fireman. Mary Gorman was the first Miss America. She was age 16. Maybe one of them has been Miss America. Maybe they've been to a Miss America pageant. But you want to make sure that you give them a chance to talk about it. Babe Ruth. That'll be a hot topic among the gentlemen, if you have gentlemen in your activity group. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. That's bound to elicit some conversation because many people will have visited there. And the last was when President Harding signed the bill outlawing any liquor for medicinal purposes. So the Roaring 20s were just getting started. It's going to be big conversation. Now, when you get to the end of the session and you revisit these, you are welcome to change it up. You're welcome to let them shout out the answer if they would like. kind of feel the group and decide what feels good to them, and then go with it. I suppose that nearing the end of the QuickWitz first 12 weeks, you'll be ready for them to write the questions down themselves and write the answers. So this is your QuickWitz tip. I hope you enjoyed it and you'll tune in for more. Thanks.